It is a massive game. This is Game Day exclusive on Talksport. Faye Carruthers with you this Saturday evening, live from Craven Cottage, ahead of our exclusive Premier League commentary of Fulham against Brentford. Thanks for your company. Second Saturday night in a row you've been treated to a West London derby. And the pyrotechnic show is full of force here at Craven Cottage as the players are led out to the far side in front of the Riverside stand. Delighted to say your commentary team of Joe Shannon and former England captain Stuart Pearce are alongside me here in the press box. We have that fantastic stand looming in front of us, and the oohs and ahs are not for fireworks night. Bonfire night is about a month away still, but it feels like Guy Fawkes is in full force here at Craven Cottage, that is for sure. And it's lovely to have the heat from the pyrotechnics, to be honest, because it does get a bit chilly here on the banks of the Thames. Stu, I'm very much looking forward to this game. We were treated to a West London derby last weekend live on Talksport, and it finished 2-2 between Brentford and Chelsea. I feel like there's going to be goals in this one tonight too. Yeah, there's every chance there will be, and I think it's lovely balance of this game. Whoever comes out as the victor, I think, can rightly turn around and say we've had a really good start to the season. Fulham can go level points with Chelsea if they end up winning today and being, I think, 8th in the league. Same with Brentford. A lot of people wrote them off, and I was one of them, by the way. Get a victory here today, they're top half of the league and a good start. Absolutely. We're hoping that there are goals in this one. There certainly were last season, but in both matches it was Fulham picking up all 3 points. Will that trend continue tonight? Let's find out, shall we? In the company of Stuart Pearce and Joe Shannon here on Talksport.
Well, thank you, Faye. Good evening, everybody. We started Derby Day on Talksport over on Merseyside, and we will finish it on the banks of the Thames. 2 West London clubs, Fulham and Brentford, now firmly established in the Premier League. And for the fans, this is one of the highlights of the season. And as a fixture too, it always seems to produce drama, excitement and late goals. More of that tonight, we hope. Bernd Leno is the Fulham goalkeeper. Tete, Anderson, Bassi and Sessegnon, Lukic and Berger, Wilson, King and Iwobi behind Muniz. And for Brentford, Kelleher in goal, Vandenberg, Collins and Pinnock the centre-halves, Coyote and Lewis Potter the wing-backs, Henderson, Yarmoliuk and Damsgaard in the middle, Igor Thiago and Schade up front. And Stuart, I'm really looking forward to this, not only because of the recent meetings and the excitement that we usually see between these two, but whilst there is always pressure in the Premier League, it doesn't feel like there's a great deal of pressure on these two teams. They can both go out just to try and win the game tonight, and that should be exciting. Yeah, it certainly should be. As I say, Keith Andrews, you know, his first job in the Premier League. I'm acutely watching how he does. I'm looking forward. I'll tell you what I'm looking forward to is the head-to-head, if you like. An old head in Jordan Henderson, who I've worked with before, but Josh King, who really caught my eye at Chelsea a couple of weeks ago. He was outstanding, I thought. Best player at first half, 18-year-old young man making his way against an old head in Henderson in that sort of central area. Yes, he's just about half the age of Jordan Henderson, but that will be among the key battles tonight. Brentford in the change kit this evening. It's an all dark brown change kit, and Fulham are all in white. The West London derby, which always produces theatre and drama at one of the Premier League's most characterful grounds. We're off and underway, and as ever on Saturdays, from start to finish, the only place to be is Talksport, as Brentford win an early throw midway inside opposition territory, and right on cue, here come the 3 centre-halves for the first of no doubt many a long throw over the course of this evening. Yeah, I think set plays are going to be absolutely crucial today. I thought Fulham defended their set plays in the last game. I saw them at Chelsea rather badly, and it's going to be a real indicator, and it might even be an indicator on which way this game swings. Michael Coyote will hoist this long throw deep into the penalty area, only half-headed away. Damsgaard tried to hit it on the volley, and then the ball is nodded clear by Joachim Andersen at the heart of the Fulham back line. It's come back out to the Brentford right, near side. Yarmoliuk wriggling his way towards the dead ball line, away on that right-hand side in front of the goal. That is the Hammersmith end of the ground, and Brentford have another throw, this time level with the edge of the 18-yard area. and they specialise from long throws, which are back in vogue in the Premier League. They've scored 7 in the top flight from long throws since the start of last season, and they got one in the League Cup in midweek as well.
Yeah, and as I say, I've seen a lot of teams in the Premier League attempt long throws, and they get sort of, well, I wouldn't call them long throws personally, Joe, but certainly Brentford can find good distance.
Well, how the fads in football have changed. You probably wouldn't have seen this 3 or 4 years ago. Coyote hurls the ball into the penalty area from the right, punched up into the air by Leno, who's then able to claim at the second attempt, to the cheers of the Fulham fans. Quick throw out to the near side, and Sessegnon just shy of halfway. He feeds the diminutive King, who'll pop it back to Anderson, right of the 2 centre-halves. And now here's Kenny Tete on the far side of the field, the right full-back position. It is a game that really matters, this, to both sets of fans after a dramatic day in the Premier League. The 5:30 kick-off finished Manchester United 2, Chelsea 1. Chelsea had Robert Sanchez sent off inside 5 minutes. Manchester United had Casemiro, who ultimately scored the winning goal, sent off just before half-time. But United hold on to win and will try and bring you the reaction from Ruben Amorim and Enzo Maresca at half-time here on Talksport. Elsewhere today, Leeds 3-1 winners at Wolves, who are still without a point. Graham Potter under big pressure. West Ham 1, Crystal Palace 2. It finished level at Turf Moor between Burnley and Nottingham Forest. Likewise at the Amex, Brighton 2, Tottenham 2. Tottenham were 2-0 down in that game, and Liverpool 2, Everton 1. So Liverpool top the table, the only team with a 100% record. This is Talksport. Fulham on the attack, inside right channel. King forced towards the corner flag by the much taller Collins, towering over King. And in the end, it's gone out of play for a Brentford throw at the Putney end of the ground, away to the left-hand side, close to those very vocal Brentford fans who gave their team rapturous applause before the game. And as I say, this is always a ground, Craven Cottage, that is enjoyable to go to, a ground of tremendous character, and there are tight confines here in the Johnny Haynes stand with its multiple pillars. The wind is sweeping around the stadium, and we're only 10-15 rows or so from the edge of the pitch. It's a bit of a throwback as Van den Berg knocks the ball back to Kelleher. He blazes it long downfield. That seemed to get held up in the wind, and then Bassi is beaten to it by Jordan Henderson, who you mentioned, Stuart Pearce, just before kick-off, a player that you've worked with before, and he really has enjoyed something of a renaissance so far at Brentford.
Yeah, I'm absolutely delighted to see him back in the Premier League personally. You know, I know there was some criticism about him going to Saudi to play his football, but I've worked with him. He's captained my team at under 21 level, and I'll tell you what, as a leader and a guiding influence, and most to the point, Thomas Tuchel's brought him back into the England fold for his influence around the place, you know, and that tells you everything.
Sander Berge skips across to win the ball back for Fulham on the halfway line. Tall and slender, the former Burnley man. Sander Berge, who is a regular in that midfield too, alongside Sasa Lukic these days. There was a flurry of late activity in the transfer market at Fulham, at a point where the squad looked very thin indeed. In fact, they made the fewest signings of all Premier League teams in the summer, whereas while it was continuity here, 3 miles or so down the road in West London for Brentford, it was anything but, with all the changes on and off the pitch. King is fouled by Collins, and that'll be a free kick for Fulham. About 6 yards into the Brentford half, on the halfway line, almost directly in line with our commentary position here, and the atmosphere is just as lively as you would expect. Talksport 0-0 and 5 minutes play.
Yeah, Josh King is operating sort of either side of the two holding midfield players for Brentford. He'll look to try and get on the ball, get on the half turn, and see if he can feed the strikers.
Alex Iwobi surging forward from the halfway line, 25 yards out. The shot rasps forward against the legs of Collins and deflects away to safety. Collins really was the first man there, and the ball is out on the far side of the field for Fulham. Kenny Tete has possession right in front of the 2 dugouts, where Marco Silva and Keith Andrews, both dressed all in black, identically dressed, standing either side of each other on the halfway line. Here goes Berger, edge of the centre circle. He's midway into the Brentford half now. Fulham on the attack with King, having picked up their first Premier League victory of the season last weekend. Sessegnon down by the left corner of the penalty area. And Sessegnon, who has been Fulham's regular left back so far this season. Of course, Anthony Robinson has had one or two injury issues. Anderson just shy of the halfway line, and Fulham have gone back into their own half, and they're content to keep easy possession here. But given all the changes at Brentford, Stuart, how impressed have you been with the way that Keith Andrews has started? We'll get a word in just a moment, because Fulham are coming forward here. King with his back to goal, nudges it wide to Iwobi. Lovely reverse ball up the inside left. Sessegnon tries to cross. He's beaten Collins to it. Down by the dead ball line. Collins is there, and actually a goal kick's been given.
Yeah, that could have been dangerous on Collins. Sessegnon's burst into the box there near the touchline, and Collins had to be very careful with his challenge and managed to get a goal kick out of it. Yeah, I think Andrews has done brilliant. I've got to say, to be thrust in as he has done, it shows great trust and faith in Brentford and the hierarchy, putting him in charge. But I think he's taken to it really well. I feel half sorry for him as well. They've sold the goals, they've sold the assists in the team, but they seem to have come out and started reasonably well, and he knows the style of play that he wants to adopt, and the set plays are going to be a big part of that.
And he was the set piece coach as well as being an assistant to Thomas Frank last season. Thomas Frank, whose Tottenham team secured a 2-2 draw from 2-0 down away at Brighton earlier today. You heard that as we went around the grounds on Talksport on Game Day Live, and we'll do that tomorrow from 1:30 with Sam Matterface in the team. Early ball by Pinnock down the inside left for Brentford. Far side is Igor Thiago, the burly front man, who is a very good technician as well, and he's held it up in front of Anderson here, and it'll be a free kick to Brentford in the left wing position, far side. Fulham 0, Brentford 0 on Talksport with Sky Sports. Don't forget that with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action flexibly, like Fulham against Brentford live right now. Search Now Sports, and of course it's not just throw-ins, is it, Stuart Pearce, that Brentford can really threaten from. There's just so much aerial ability in this team, and indeed actually it is a long throw again for Coyote.
Yeah, I think maybe the ball had just gone out of play before the challenge arrived. It was certainly a foul, there's no doubt about that, and as I saw a couple of weeks ago, once you get Bassey and Anderson pulled into the wide areas,
Coyote hurls it near post, very flat, and the ball bounces down and is gathered by Leno on his goal line. Well, everybody's spoken about these long throws and the potency that Brentford have got. You remember Rory Delap, Stuart, from a few seasons ago on the Delapometer. That was pretty good, I think.
Exactly right there. He's thrown it in and he's kept it really low. It's all defenders have jumped for it and missed it, and it's literally got caught between Leno's legs, and he got very, very fortunate that he's basically sat on it on the goal line.
And it was incredibly flat and pacey, which is very difficult to defend. Fulham at the other end. Sessegnon. Fulham fans on their feet. Left wing position. Early cross to the back post, and Muniz couldn't get there, the number 9. Lurking in the middle. So often makes an impact for Fulham off the bench, Rodrigo Muniz. In from the start again tonight. And that cross from Sessegnon is out of play. A lively start, but Fulham 0, Brentford 0.
Yeah, it's interesting watching the two diverse styles of play. Brentford are trying to play and build up when they can, but certainly set plays are a big part of what they're trying to achieve today. Fulham playing through the thirds, trying to affect the game, and on that occasion Sessegnon just put a little bit too much on it.
Headed by Bassey on the halfway line for Fulham, and Lukic trying to get it under control. He couldn't do so, neither could Harry Wilson on the far side. Harry Wilson, who memorably scored 2 late goals in this fixture last season, 2 stoppage time goals to win it for Fulham. That was a game live on Talksport, and there's a throw to Brentford just shy of halfway. Squared from Lewis Potter to Damsgaard. Fulham very quick on the press, and they've won it back, and here is King escaping the attentions of the back line, wriggling his way to the edge of the penalty area, tried to get the shot in, and it was turned away in the end by Collins. I think sheer weight of numbers, Van den Berg helping out there. Brentford managed to get it away, and Damsgaard, the Dane, is back on the ball now. Over halfway to Henderson. Ball squared in field to Igor Thiago. Midway into Fulham territory, and then Bassey is caught where it really hurts, off the pass of Henderson. And he's gone down and he's rolling around on the floor.
Joe, it's all right for you to have a wry smile on your face, but you know and I know how much that hurts. Faye doesn't. She sat there and said, "Get up, what's the problem?" All us gentlemen in the stand have just winced.
Well, there are some smiles from some of the Fulham fans around us as Bassey is helped to his feet. And yes, I will readily acknowledge I'm glad to be sitting here, not there. And Coyote, he's not going to take a long throw from near the halfway line. I mean, maybe he could, but it is a throw that's about 15 yards into Fulham territory. Coyote goes backwards, but it is quite a long throw. High to Collins, and now Pinnock, the left-sided centre-half. Three big centre-halves for Brentford, all 6'4". Van den Berg, Collins and Pinnock, and now Lewis Potter over in the left wing-back position. Pinnock back to Kevin Kelleher, who of course is very much the number one these days. They lost their goalkeeper over the summer. Mark Flecken did Brentford as well, after he moved away from the club. Henderson on halfway, early ball down the middle lane did Igor Thiago, but not quite right in terms of the direction, and all the way through to Leno, 0-0.
Yeah, both centre forwards in this game have got an expectation and an onus on them to hold the ball up. I think if they can do that and do that well, it might well give their varying teams the ascendancy.
Tete, bright orange boots on, square pass to Berger just outside the centre circle, and now Iwobi will meander towards the edge of the penalty area. Lots of dark brown shirts in front of him as Wilson steps infield from the right, little back heel with his left foot into the path of Lukic, who really tried to fizz it goalwards. That hit Pinnock, and Fulham win it back again, and quickly. Fulham, as you might expect, given the start of the two sides, look the more likely in open play. Is that fair, Stuart Pearce?
Yeah, it definitely is. As I say, they're playing through the thirds pretty well. Sessegnon on this wing's been into a decent wide area on occasion, and the pitch as well, it's been heavily watered, and a couple of efforts have been blocked at the moment, but it's certainly worth an effort.
It looks pretty immaculate, doesn't it? King with his back to goal, edge of the penalty area, square to Sessegnon, onto the left foot, force wide, but he finds Iwobi to pull it back across, low into the penalty area, and Wilson with the shot. It dropped to him, it took a deflection, and it goes behind for a corner to Fulham, 0-0.
Yeah, that was the beauty of that hold-up play that I spoke about earlier. It wasn't from a deep line ball forward, it was a ball from wide into the box, but Muniz was the one who held it up and set it back to his teammate for the effort.
It just took a nick off Collins. Wilson, who loves a goal against Brentford, and not just in this fixture at Craven Cottage, but scored the winner at the G-Tech last season as well. Corner to Fulham, and Lukic is going to place the ball down. Plenty of white shirts forward here for the home team. Putney end of the ground, which is split between home and away fans. Lukic, one arm up into the air, right-footed in swinging delivery, into the near post. Kelleher makes the save, instinctive, punched it away. Header square by Anderson. Out to the right-hand side, and Wilson level with the edge of the penalty area. Here come Fulham again. Anderson chips the ball to the back post and headed behind by Van den Berg. Fulham are getting closer and closer.
Well, we've been waxing lyrical about Brentford's prowess from set plays, but it was Fulham who got first contact on that corner, and it just skimmed out, and Kelleher, he almost flapped it, didn't he? I don't know whether it was a punch or a slap in many ways, but it was enough to keep it out the goal.
Unorthodox. I think it hit Anderson on the back in the end. Fulham 0, Brentford 0. And standing over it again is Lukic, and they've really flooded the 6-yard box here with attacking intent. Fulham. Lukic once more in swinging from the near side, high to the back post this time, and it hit Anderson, deflects into the path of Wilson, who scoops it back in high. Muniz trying to get underneath it, couldn't do so, looped the ball up into the air with his head, and Kelleher makes the grab, but the former Liverpool goalkeeper looks a bit vulnerable from these set plays in the early stages. It is still 0-0.
Yeah, it certainly looks as though Fulham have had a good look at that. He's decided to stay on his line and let his defenders deal with anything. Anderson was the one who got the first contact, and when it come back in, Muniz probably, instead of heading for goal, should have just kept it alive.
Well, it's a busy week of football coming up on the Talksport network with the return of the League Cup third round next Tuesday and next Wednesday on the network. Lincoln-Chelsea. Chelsea beaten today at Manchester United in the Premier League on Talksport on Tuesday night. Liverpool, who were winners in the Merseyside derby earlier, will take on Southampton on Talksport 2. And Wednesday on the network, Port Vale against Arsenal in the League Cup on Talksport. Real Betis against Nottingham Forest. Forest back in Europe, and they are live on Talksport 2. Aston Villa against Bologna is on Thursday evening in the Europa League, and that is a Talksport commentary for you. Yes. Calvin Bassett.
Some exciting games coming up, Joe. I'm up at the Port Vale game, but I'll have one eye on the Forest result, that's for sure.
I bet. Forest and England legend Stuart Pearce with us tonight. Wilson infield from the right. Tete scoops in a first-time cross towards Moniz at the back post, and he was well marshalled by Van den Berg, but Brentford can't clear effectively. Iwobi trying to dance down the left-hand side away from Damsgaard. Very elegant motion there of Iwobi. And then with his back to goal, Wilson to Berger. Lukic, 25 yards out! Low shot just beyond the far post. Kelleher plunged to his right-hand side, and in the end it was a couple of yards wide of the target. 0-0, but Fulham looked the more likely.
Well, Fulham not afraid to have a go. That was the third effort, even this early on in the game, but the first two got blocked by good defending. On that occasion, squirmed through the defensive back line, but the accuracy wasn't there, sadly.
Lukic, who can hit them, though his only Fulham goal was back in March of 2024. Unlucky not to hit the target there. And Fulham have got a throw in their right-back position on the far side, which Kenny Tete is going to take. A Premier League double over their local rivals last season. Just 3 miles or so between the two clubs. Henderson gets in front of Moniz to roll the ball all the way back to Kevin Kelleher. In the Championship today, maybe the biggest talking point, Sheffield United 0, Charlton 1. So Sheffield United without a point in their first 6 matches, and no new manager bounce for Chris Wilder, back at the club for the 3rd time. And Pinnock will look long for Brentford, high up the left-hand side, and it's going to go through to Leno. I think, as Sam was saying, Sam Matterface on commentary earlier, that something like they've had in their last 6 managerial appointments, Sheffield United, it's been Chris Wilder for 3 of them. And
listen, he's been around the block, he knows the game inside out, and I tell you what, he's got a real love for the football club. I'm absolutely delighted to see him back.
Plenty of time to turn it around. Bradford top of League One after winning at Cardiff. As they give it away, Fulham, Damsgaard into the penalty area, punishes them, rolls the ball into the bottom corner. It was the youngster King with the mistake, and Damsgaard was there, deadly from the edge of the box. He just placed it beyond Bernd Leno, who had no chance, and Brentford, against the run of play, strike first in the West London derby, and Josh King will hang his head. Fulham 0, Brentford 1.
Yeah, brilliant press there by Brentford, but the ball was played from Leno into Josh King. He's happy to receive the ball. He got a bit greedy trying to find a pass, and Damsgaard, fantastic finish, cool head, picked the ball up, cool head, and he literally passed it into the corner and wrong-footed Leno in doing so. But listen, great press from Brentford. The young man Josh King, he'll learn from that, and credit to his teammates, they've got round him to try and get his head up again, but a poor mistake at the back.
Well, Damsgaard was so calm and so cool, he made it look easy. It was such a simple goal, his first of the season, and Brentford take the lead in a very difficult moment for the teenager King, who has been one of Fulham's outstanding players so far this season, but it was a naive mistake. He didn't appear to be looking up at all, Stuart Pearce, and the pass was a really poor one.
Yeah, it was. He should have just dotted it back into Anderson. He's trying to get a little bit greedy on his pass, Joe, and whip it round the corner into a midfield player, and Damsgaard was there waiting for it.
Henderson clears the ball downfield for Brentford. Inside right is Shada, dead ball line, pulling it back into the penalty area, but Igor Thiago nowhere near it, and Fulham are there to retrieve possession with Tete. I think he might have got a call from the goalkeeper that there was no threat coming in behind it.
No, as I say, Sharda and Thiago working into these channels, trying to pull Bassi around and Anderson around will be a major threat.
Wobie's dinking to the box towards Muniz, and it was punched away by Kelleher, and the referee's given a free kick for a foul on Ethan Pinnock. So Brentford 1-0 up, live on Talksport in the West London derby.
Well, he would have stopped the game anyway for a clash, a bang on the head. He's holding his head, he's flat out there. He's just told the referee that he's okay, but the Fulham players are up in arms, really. They're claiming that Kelleher was the one who had contact.
Well, Pinnock is going to have to be treated here. Here come the two physios. It is 1-0 to Brentford on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car, whatever it is, they're here for it. And prolonged treatment here for Ethan Pinnock. Yeah,
we've just had a look at the replay again. It was Kelleher who's come and cleared him out. And no wonder the Fulham players are incensed. And Pinnock isn't the sort of player that stays down readily. Let's hope he's okay.
Well, the Brentford fans are cheering behind the goal. A few words from Keith Andrews for his players, and Marco Silva likewise. And Fulham will be really disappointed because they were in control of the game, it looked like, in an error out of nothing from King. But give credit to Damsgaard. There would be certain players who in that situation on the edge of the area, they might have panicked, but certainly there was a total calm and poise from Mikael Damsgaard and just steered it beyond the goalkeeper, and that's the opening goal of the game for the visitors.
Yeah, as I say, the main thing is, I think, with Damsgaard, the coolness that he showed there. He just wrong-footed Leno and slid it into the corner. And this is looking a little bit worrying for Pinnock. He's been down for a long time. As I say, he's a tough lad. He's not often down. I think they're just being precautious, potentially, hopefully.
A raucous noise from the Brentford fans as Pinnock remains down and still being treated here, though he is sitting up on the field of play. Brentford have their next game against Manchester United in the Premier League, and that'll be live next weekend on Talksport. Among our Premier League commentaries, there are actually a host of big games. Tottenham against Wolves this time next week. Wolves are yet to even pick up a point after being beaten by Leeds today. And Graham Potter's West Ham go to Everton. Graham Potter under big pressure after West Ham were beaten again today.
Well, there's an interesting game.
Oh, yes.
For many, many reasons. So everyone will be glued to that one, interestingly. And we just looked at the goal again on replay. Damsgaard's done brilliant, to be fair to him. He's read the pass. That pass could have gone back into Anderson for the safety, but King's decided to turn it right round the corner and try and find the right back Tete. And he read it brilliantly, I've got to say.
Good to see Pinnock back on his feet. He'll come on again shortly. Brentford temporarily down to 10, but they lead by a goal to nil. And there's a confidence about Brentford tonight, and a sense that Keith Andrews, for all the doubts after what people saw at Nottingham Forest on the opening day, he slotted in pretty seamlessly in the transition. Somebody who knows the club really well, has been smooth so far. Pinnock was still waiting for him to come back on, and Kelleher has given it away, the goalkeeper. He's helped out by Lewis Potter, who hammers it away downfield. Now Pinnock comes on. Igor Thiago chasing the long ball down towards the dead ball line, and he's all over the back of Calvin Bassi, and that's a free kick to Fulham, Stuart Pearce.
Tell you what, I'd like to see this again. I like always, I think players get there first, plant their feet, and down they go. I may be totally wrong on that one, but I'm not sure I was. But there's been Thiago and Sharda galloping into these channels and causing the odd problem to Fulham.
Flicked by Muniz down the middle. Wilson is after it. Hooked away by Pinnock up into the dark evening sky, and quite a strong wind here tonight under the floodlights. Coyotes throw for Brentford, right back position, little square ball from Henderson, and they are comfortable at the moment. Brentford leading at Craven Cottage by a goal to nil, but they'll be wary of a Fulham comeback. And Fulham left it very late here last season to win 2-1, and they also came from 2-1 down to win 3-2 in the reverse fixture. Pinnock, left corner of the penalty area. chip forward to Igor Thiago, who chests it back to Yarmoliuk. Little dink over the halfway line. Yarmoliuk, who has started every Premier League game so far this season for Brentford, but he can't find the onrushing Lewis Potter, and that's a throw to Fulham in the right back position. And Fulham just need to pick it up again. They look a bit deflated in terms of energy after conceding that opening goal, and of course there was the stoppage after the injury to Pinnock. Now Moniz goes down, he's quickly on his feet again, and Pinnock clears long. Little flick by Igor Thiago, Brentford's number 9. Kevin Schade down by the corner of the penalty area. Bassi gets in front of him. Schade, tangle of legs on the dead ball line here, and Bassi loses out, and Schade does very well against the very strong central defender to win Brentford a corner.
Yeah, as I say, my first viewpoint of Fulham this season was that game at Chelsea, where they defended in the first half really well when they weren't being pulled around a little bit, defending deep, compact, when they got pulled around a little bit. And this home game's a point in case. Getting pulled, the centre halves, into these wide areas, they get exposed, especially with Sharda's pace.
Corner at the home end, the Hammersmith end, dinked in by Damsgaard. Leno punches away one-handed, and free kick given by the referee for a foul, an apparent foul on the former Arsenal goalkeeper, all in red. And these in-swinging corners with players trying to block the goalkeeper are becoming such a threat for Premier League teams up and down the table, Stuart Pearce.
It is, and I think the wording that you used there, apparent, I didn't see a foul there, having watched the replay. So
the foul was given, whether it looks obvious is another question. Goalkeepers, they always get those decisions though, right?
Well, they seem to. I saw one at Old Trafford not so long ago, a couple of games ago, that wasn't given.
Well, they were cheering, at least the majority were, at Old Trafford today after the Chelsea goalkeeper Robert Sanchez was correctly sent off early on, and Manchester United went on to win it 2-1 in the 5:30 kickoff. And you'll hear from Ruben Amorim and Enzo Maresca at half-time on Talksport. The ball bounces down to Anderson, the Fulham central defender, forward to Lukic, who gives it away, and now Schade on the edge of the penalty area, forced wide by Bassi. Schade from the angle tries a cross-come shot that hit Bassi and flew over the top for a Brentford corner. And once again, Fulham careless in possession. This time Brentford can't quite punish them.
Yeah, architects of their own downfall at the moment. Fulham, certainly the goal, and on that occasion as well, coming to midfield, and it was just bounced back at his defence. And there was Schade waiting for it, but he just couldn't get away from Bassi enough to get a free shot away.
Well, Fulham under threat here, already 1-0 down. Damsgaard will take another corner. Fulham fans on their feet behind the goal. They brought everybody back to defend it. This is out-swinging, floated high to the back post. Leno punches away on the corner of the 6-yard box. That looked more of a foul than the previous one, and it is given again. Leno dealt with that corner well and was caught late.
Yeah, he did. He went beyond the far post, got a good fist on it, and was clattered just as he got shot of the ball.
Emil Smith-Rowe among the Fulham substitutes tonight, and he's warming up on the far side as we look at it. Sessegnon has the ball on the halfway line. Fulham go back to Bassi, midway inside his own half of the field. Fulham, who have now conceded from open play for the first time in the Premier League this season. Fulham 0, Brentford 1, half an hour gone. Berger under pressure, midway inside his own half, had to react very quickly to roll it back hurriedly to the goalkeeper. The clearance from Leno isn't great, bounces shy of halfway. Jordan Henderson in a tussle with King, who gets the better of him, surges into the Brentford half. Out wide on the right hand side is Harry Wilson, who jinks in field. Deflection on the cross, loops up towards Sessegnon, wins the header at the back post, but Collins is there to beat King to it. Crucial second ball, and vital that Collins won it. He gets it away. Igor Thiago forward over the halfway line. Right in front of his is Yarmoliuk. Good feet in a tight area, but this time Berger and Bassi combine to win it back for Fulham, and the atmosphere picks up again with Fulham seeking an equaliser. 1-0 down on Talksport.
Yeah, it's a pretty even game. As I say, it's that mistake with the back pass that split the teams at the moment.
Oh, good turn by Sessegnon in the area. Kelleher spills it, Moniz to the rebound. lofts it over the top from the angle and onto the roof of the net. Not convincing from Kevin Kelleher. Maybe there was a bobble in front of the goalkeeper, but he should be holding on to that. And then Rodrigo Muniz. It was a difficult effort from the rebound, and he could only spoon it over the top.
Yeah, you're spot on there. He should have held that. It's bounced before him, but it's come up at a reasonable height where he should have clutched it and brought it into his chest. But he's ended up not doing that. And Muniz, unfortunate tight angle, couldn't get it on target.
Football every day of the week on Talksport and Talksport 2, as you'd expect. And tomorrow our next live commentary will be from the WSL, the top two, or the top two at least at the start of the weekend. Both unbeaten, both with 2 wins from 2 in the new campaign. Manchester United against Arsenal. And the Monday night football comes from the Championship, Millwall against Watford. Both games are live on Talksport 2. So always worth, especially at this time of the season with all the games that are going on, the excitement that Stuart mentioned earlier, always worth downloading our free app, and then you can be across everything. High ball downfield by Pinnock, flicked header away by Anderson. It's dropped to Schade. He collects the ball inside the area. Bassi comes across with help from Sessegnon. That was an uncharacteristic error from the Fulham captain Anderson. And once again, Brentford and Schade might feel that he could have made more of that. They get a corner. I just wondered whether a player who is confident at the moment, Stuart Pearce, might have hit that on the half volley even.
Yeah, potentially. As I say, it was Anderson. Instead of just clearing his header, he's trying to keep possession with a header. And I think Brentford are certainly capitalising on this at the moment. You know, these loose passes in and around their final third.
This is the latest in a series of corners that they've won since going 1-0 up. The 33rd minute, driven by Damsgaard towards the edge of the penalty area. And the referee has spotted a foul this time on the Fulham number 8, Harry Wilson, a former Liverpool man who quickly scampers to his feet, and Fulham have another free kick inside their own 18-yard box. At the moment, the latest odds with Betfair, our official betting partner on Talksport with our Premier League coverage. Fulham are 7-2 to come back and win. Brentford 5-6. And the draw at 9-4. That's all thanks to Betfair, playing a different league this season with Safe Sub from Betfair, 18+, and do visit gambleaware.org. Headed by Lukic, looping into the midway point of the Brentford half. Headed away by Van den Berg easily. Then Anderson on the stretch cuts out the ball towards the left, and Schade. Schade's touch is heavy. Won back by Berger. Quick ball down the right. Wilson taking on Pinnock. Wilson goes on the outside, chips in the cross. Oh, Van den Berg tried to chest that down to Henderson. Calmest man in Craven Cottage, and he just about got away with it.
Yeah, I don't know whether it was calmness, Joe, or the fact it just arrived on his chest and had to do something with it. But listen, no harm done. Game set up nicely, I think. Brentford sitting back, soaking up pressure, pressing really high when they have to in the final third, knowing full well they've got the height at the back line to win the headers if they do go from back to front, Fulham.
Maybe I've given the Dutchman Van den Berg too much credit there.
No, you're right, I'm wrong, Joe, don't worry.
I'm not sure about that. Here's Iwobi surging infield for Fulham, early ball into the penalty area, looking for Muniz. A little too much on it. Through it goes to Kelleher, but the Fulham fans around us seem to like the idea, like the intent anyway, but it is still Fulham 0, Brentford 1 in the Premier League today. Wins for Liverpool in the Merseyside derby, for Crystal Palace at West Ham, for Leeds a great win, 3-1 at Wolves, who are still without a point, and Manchester United 2, Chelsea 1. The full-time score at Old Trafford, a turbulent first half in particular when one player from each team was sent off. Brighton 2, Tottenham 2, and Burnley 1, and Nottingham Forest 1. The other full-time scores from the Premier League today, and as I say, we'll go around the grounds tomorrow for all the goals as they go in from 1:30 with Sam Matterface from the Talksport team. Sunderland against Aston Villa, Arsenal against Manchester City is a huge game, and Bournemouth against Newcastle. We'll bring you all the goals as they go in. 10 minutes of the first half remaining. Keith Andrews certainly the happier of the two head coaches so far. Brentford go backwards to Collins, the captain, middle of the trio of centre halves, and now Coyote in front of us here. right back, who has always looked very impressive whenever I've seen him in action. Van den Berg chipping the ball down the right for Igor Thiago. Now he's reached the edge of the Fulham penalty area. He's being forced towards the corner, flanked by Bassi, and the challenge was firm but fair. Igor Thiago looks towards the referee, looks towards the assistant, who was right by it, and well, I thought that was pretty good assistant refereeing, Stuart Pearce. He'd have been tempted to give a foul, but wasn't the case.
No, I think if the assistant referee was on the other side of the pitch, he probably would have waved on the one where Bassi's got the ground earlier, but he certainly wasn't. But this game's really tight now, I think, on a knife edge still.
Lovely incisive touch from Josh King to glide away from Henderson, and he's beyond the arm of Leak as well, tearing down the left-hand channel. Across comes Coyote, sliding in. He's a young player and he's going to make mistakes, as he did for the goal, no question about it, but his attitude since then has been to try and set Fulham on the attack whenever he can.
Yeah, as I say, I spoke with a coach who's worked with him, and he said he's got one big trait as a footballer. He's got brilliant balance, you know, and I think we saw that in evidence there as he wriggled down the touchline.
Igor Thiago's layoff is a poor one from the middle of his own half, but Brentford have got plenty back behind the ball anyway. Brentford in their change kit tonight, this dark brown change kit with golden trim, and Fulham playing from right to left, all in white. Here is Anderson, the captain, halfway, square ball out to the far side. Sasa Lukic carries it forward into the Brentford half. Tete is on his overlap. Kenny Tete, who agreed a new contract in the summer, looked at one stage like he was going to join David Moyes at Everton, but Fulham managing to hang on to him, and King now draws the foul from Van den Berg. Fulham take the free kick quickly. Bassi out to the left in Iwobi. Brentford have got everybody back behind the ball. Fulham are going to have to be very incisive here. Tete forward to the edge of the penalty area. Lukic with quick feet and a left-footed curling shot that is blocked, loops up into the air, and Brentford don't deal with it. Collins couldn't clear it away. Iwobi is there to tap it in for 1-1. Brentford punished for really poor defending in the build-up, and Alex Iwobi is there to snap it up and make it Fulham 1, Brentford 1.
Well, no one took charge of that. Once again, Fulham operating on the edge of the box, looking for a shooting opportunity, was half blocked, cannoned in the air, landed from a great height in the box, and at that stage no one took control in the Brentford back line of heading it or clearing it. There was a shout for handball, but Iwobi was Johnny on the spot and put it in the back of the net. Yep, there was a handball in there as well, by the way. Coyote, I think, would have been a judge to have handballed this, his arm away from his body as it's cannoned off his arm. The referee done well. I don't think he had chance to blow his whistle for a penalty, and we're 1-0.
Well, it's a messy goal for Brentford to concede, but Fulham will feel on the balance of play that they deserve to be level, and now the noise at Craven Cottage has just gone up a notch. Alex Iwobi, who has been one of the most consistent performers over the last year or so at Fulham, 9 goals and last season in the Premier League, his best season in the top flight for goals, and he's scored the equaliser tonight. And here come Fulham with Iwobi again, edge of the D, plays it square. Wilson! Fulham have scored 2 in a minute. It's Harry Wilson with another goal in a West London derby. He just loves a comeback goal against Brentford. Fulham 2, Brentford 1, tucked it away beautifully. And Fulham have turned it around in the blink of an eye.
Well, incredible. As I say, it was 1-0 to Brentford. Brentford quite happy. The ball's cannoned around, and Muniz has fed Iwobi. Iwobi played a beautiful ball into Wilson. He's opened his body up as he's come in from the inside right position and just faded it, guided it, if you like, into the far corner. A wonderful finish. He made it look very easy, Joe, but I tell you what, that was a wonderful finish.
Well, how the game has turned. Fulham 2, Brentford 1, and just over 90 seconds between the two goals. Iwobi and Wilson for Fulham. Harry Wilson against Brentford again. And now Muniz has chested it down in the centre circle. He's jollied it beyond Yarmolenko, and Brentford have got to be careful here that the game doesn't get away from them.
Well, Fulham have found newfound confidence in this. Higher energy in their play, knocking the ball around and more than confident in possession.
Bassi, forward of the centre circle. And on the angle to the near side, the left, and Iwobi and Sessegnon back to Bassi. And it's a rip-roaring recovery, this, from Marco Silva's Fulham team. Tete, angled ball to the right-hand side. Lukic will play it back to Tete again. Fulham looking to produce the goods again in a West London derby against Brentford and win 3 successive league meetings for the first time since the 20s. Out on the left-hand side is Ryan Sessegnon. Back to Iwobi. Forward pass into the left edge of the penalty area. Josh King whips in an early cross. Kelleher flaps at that. And Neil Thiago can barely bring it down. Bassi hits a low shot. Oh, and it nearly came to Muniz, but he couldn't control it. Real pace on the drive from Bassi, was going miles wide. Through to Kelleher. Fulham 2, Brentford 1. 3 minutes of the first half to go on Talksport. And here's Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, just you mentioned there Kelleher. He's flapped at a couple, hasn't he? And it's all very well maybe playing for Liverpool every now and then when you have the ascendancy in possession, but without being disrespectful, if you play for a team that are under more threat from corners and set plays, you're asked to do a lot more than just fielding the ball at the back.
Brentford looking for back-to-back home wins, and they could be in again inside the penalty area. Lukic trying to chip it back across from the dead ball line. He got the wrong side of Yarmolenko. Collins had to come across to help him out, and Brentford suddenly look really ragged defensively. Oh, and then Henderson challenges King, and King, I think, is going to get booked here for diving. He is. Be interesting to see it again. First instinct, Stuart Pearce?
I don't think the kid dived. I think there was contact there. My personal, great turn by him. He's touched it. Good decision, referee. He dived. Or went down cheaply, I would say. And Henderson's got none of the ball, though. It's an interesting one. I'm looking 2 and 3 times here. No, I think he's gone down cheaply. I don't think there was enough contact to give a penalty. If I was the referee, I'm not sure I'd have booked the kid either.
So King is yellow carded. Fulham lead it by 2-1 against Brentford here. And Harry Wilson, he's done it again, is the chant from the Fulham fans. This incredible record that he's got against Brentford. And Stuart Pearce, having played in so many games yourself, is there a team that you particularly look forward to going up against? I mean, first of all, just get another look at that Henderson-King tackle. Is there any sort of contact, and if so, is there enough, or is he going down early?
Well, certainly King's got to the ball, and he's the one who's towed it beyond Henderson. Henderson's flicked a leg out, but I don't think there was any contact there with King to induce a penalty. So certainly, you talk about teams I enjoy playing against. Scored pretty readily against Crystal Palace. Had a good run against them. 5 goals in 6 games, which wasn't too bad at one stage. But
is there anything in it when you... Sessegnon is down, being treated, by the way, so the game has stopped. We'll be into stoppage time in a moment. But is there anything in it maybe for Harry Wilson when he sees Brentford on the fixture list? He thinks, right, I fancy a goal tonight.
Well, sometimes it's not who you play against, it's the individual you might be playing against, and I'm not sure that's the case here. Maybe there's someone that you enjoy playing against. You've got the beating of them, if you like, but I've got to say that was a wonderful finish. You made it look extremely easy.
First time left-footed, stroke beyond Kelleher, and Sessegnon is on his feet as we go into 5 minutes of added time, and we promised you it would be action-packed on Talksport. Once again, Saturday has delivered, and it's really delivered here in the first half. A long way still to go. Brentford took the lead through Mikel Damsgaard, but Fulham with 2 goals in very quick succession. It will be with the first, Wilson with a beautifully taken second, and it's 2-1.
Yeah, as I say, Brentford were pressing really well from the front and getting some joy, and obviously their goal come from that, and launching some long throws in and set plays, and they were the real threat first part of the first half. But Fulham have come into the game now. The game's being played further up the pitch in Brentford's area, and well, the turnaround over 90 seconds was incredible.
One a very messy goal, and one a beautifully created goal, and a real sense of style about the finish. We have had 90 seconds of 5 added at the end of the first half. Ryan Sessegnon back on the field for Fulham now, by the way. Collins with the ball back to his goalkeeper Kelleher, who has been quite a nervy presence tonight. Is that harsh or fair?
No, I think he has on set plays, definitely. He's come out, he's decided to stay at home for a couple where you thought, hang on, come and help your defence, and for the ones he has come for and got his hand on, it's been more of a slap rather than a really confident punch, I would say, Joe.
2 minutes of the 5 added play. Bassey starting to stride forward for Fulham. Bassey and Anderson, one of the most consistent centre-back pairings in the Premier League. Lukic over halfway for Fulham, now drifting into a more central area. On his outside is Tete, angled ball to Wilson on the right. He starts to dart infield, plays it back to Lukic, forward down the inside right. Lovely run that from Berger to the dead ball line. Pull back towards Moniz, cleared away. It was Yarmoliak in the way for Brentford. Collins will hoist it clear. Brentford have lost a lot of shape and seemingly a lot of the confidence in the play that they had at 1-0. Van den Berg smuggles it clear. Jordan Henderson breaks between the lines, nudges it forward, but Sessegnon intercepts before it can reach Schade. Oh, Iwerby fancied his chances against Coyote on the left, but Coyote wins it back, and now he counters down the middle. Early ball towards Igor Thiago. Bassey in the way. Well, Coyote didn't really have anybody else bar Igor Thiago to aim at. Fulham 2, Brentford 1. Last couple of minutes of first half stoppage time on Talksport. On a day of plenty of goals in the Premier League, late goals, and managers under pressure. Busy in the EFL as well, as Calvin Bassey is fouled and Fulham get a free kick. Some of the Fulham fans heading to the concourse areas ahead of half-time. Yeah,
Schade a little bit frustrated there. He's in an offside position. He's walking back to get onside, and the linesman here has just flagged him offside. I didn't think he made any contribution to try and get involved in play, Joe, personally.
Well, Leno will take the resulting free kick, hammers it high downfield into Brentford territory. Up goes Pinnock with Moniz, and that will be a Fulham throw. Moniz has battled his way into the game against those 3 centre-halves. The Fulham and number 9, he's been at the club for quite a long time now, 4 years or so.
Yeah, he's held the ball up better and better as the half's gone on, and I think that's absolutely crucial. So when the ball's gone forward from Brentford, it's been galloping, one of the 2 forwards galloping into a channel.
Stuart Pearce is with us tonight. Moniz goes down, no free kick, corner of the penalty area. Header away by Van den Berg for Brentford. Clever flick by Igor Thiago. Schade on the halfway line, racing forward. Can he beat Bassey? He's into the penalty area. It's a brilliant run by Schade, but Bassey did enough. Coming across, must have got a tiny glancing blow on that ball, and Fulham are able to clear it away. Schade's got real pace, but Bassey stuck with him impressively. Now Fulham counter at the other end. Iwerby can't force his way through the middle.
Yeah, I think he ended up, Bassey, doing enough by not doing anything, just running alongside him, and that was probably the wiser of the 2 things he could have done. You know, if he'd have dangled a leg, there could have been a problem.
Well, we've had the 5 minutes of added time, maybe just a few moments left. Of course, it is a minimum of 5 added minutes at the end of the half. And Brentford have got a free kick right at the end of it, and Kelleher is going to come forward because it's just shy of the halfway line, and they'll send all of the tall players in the side forward for this. Pinnock, Van den Berg, Collins all up there, Igor Thiago as well, hoisted high to the edge of the penalty area. Good header away by Sander Berger, and that's half-time. A thrilling first half on the banks of the Thames. And in keeping really with the Premier League action that we've seen across the weekend so far on Talksport, Mikkel Damsgaard gave Brentford the lead, somewhat against the run of play after Josh King's error in possession, but that is long forgotten now. Alex Iwobi pounced on defensive indecision to make it 1-1, and then the goal of the game by some distance, stroked home by Harry Wilson, who loves a goal against Fulham's near neighbours, and he's turned a West London derby on its head again. At the break, Fulham 2, Brentford 1.
Well, we predicted goals, didn't we? And goals are exactly what we got. What a thrilling first 45 minutes here at Craven Cottage. Harry Wilson, he's done it again, was the chant ringing out around the cottage as well. And I have to say, Stuart Pearce, absolutely superb. Love this stat. He only played 32 minutes last season against Brentford in the 2 games that he played, but he scored 3 goals in those 2 appearances. And he's come on, he's played the full 45 tonight and got himself a goal 90 seconds after Alex Iwobi had put them level.
Well, you can certainly say he likes to play against them, but his goal was fantastic. He just drifted into the box from the right-hand side and just guided it with a bit of fade into the far corner. It was a wonderful finish. Caught Kelleher sort of, I wouldn't say flat-footed, I wouldn't blame the goalkeeper. The finish was just outstanding. Yeah,
it really was. And I have to say, I was watching Ethan Pinnock because Harry Wilson had so much space on that right-hand side. And Pinnock was pointing to the fact that he had so much space on that right-hand side, but there was no one there tracking that run.
No, as I say, they managed to find a little bit of space on that sort of inside right area of the pitch, I think. They've had probably a few efforts that have been blocked on the edge of the box, a couple that have been a little bit wide, but they are finding space in that area.
The first 10-15 minutes of the game, Fulham were well on top. And then a mistake from the young lad, 18-year-old Josh King, who we spoke about very briefly in the build-up to the game. He's been brilliant for them, and I could hear some of the fans behind us here, we're so packed in the press box at Craven Cottage, say, it was a terrible mistake, but he's been so good for us so far this season. But you mentioned it in commentary, his teammates rallied around him. Now, I've just seen him walk down the tunnel as well with Alex Iwobi. Sometimes young players have mentors, don't they, in some of the older players? And it certainly feels as if he's very much being protected. Don't let your head drop. Yeah,
definitely. And it warmed my heart to see that, to be fair. Sometimes with young players, I think it was either the second or third game that I played when I turned pro as a 21-year-old. I scored an own goal away at your club, Luton, actually.
Oh, sorry about that.
It was a wonderful header from the penalty spot that flew in the top corner.
I want to play again.
But, you know, my teammates rallied round me at the stage, and they know, I think the Fulham players know what a good prospect this young man's going to be, you know, and he made the mistake because he's coming to receive the ball and wanting the ball and wanting to get his team playing. So I'm just pleased probably that they've turned the result round at the moment that will make him feel slightly better about himself.
Yeah, he was playing a little bit further up front than he was maybe last weekend, almost partnering Muniz to a point, so maybe saw himself slightly out of position there. But Damsgaard did some fantastic work. You and Joe both noticed it. It was the body movement, and he didn't look with the pass, Josh King, but the anticipation from Damsgaard. Last weekend we missed, or Brentford missed a lot of his dynamism, and he certainly had it there.
Yeah, he did. What he's done is read it, you know. He knew that he couldn't influence the ball back to Anderson. So what he's done is he's just sort of shimmied his body and cut off the one to Tete. And Josh King's got a little bit greedy, trying to get the fullback out in a sweeping ball, and he's cut it out. But what he's done, I don't know whether it is poor goalkeeping by Leno, it's just flat-footed Leno a little bit. I think he's trying to read it to his right, and he's just passed it in the goal. It was a very composed finish by Damsgaard.
I think there's more goals to come in the second half, because I don't think either team have looked comfortable in their own penalty areas, and that was evident from a Brentford perspective when Iwobi got the equaliser.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. As I say, Brentford need to put some more pressure on this back third of Fulham, of false corners, false throw-ins and that type of thing to get an ascendancy in the game. Fulham's point of view, you know, they look as though they're gaining confidence as the half went on. but a couple of times the ball's come in the box against Brentford. Even though they've got the height that they've got, they didn't deal with the ball on occasion. I totally agree with you.
I'm going to just slightly defend the goalkeepers because I've been watching the players' shirts and they're blowing in the wind. It's really blustery out there on the pitch, and maybe just to give them a tiny little bit of credit, maybe that's had something to do with it.
Faye, you're too kind. You really are. But yeah, there is a blustery wind out there. I mean, the sprinklers are on at the moment. It's blowing the spray everywhere, so that certainly is the case.
Yeah, right, okay. Anyway, 2-1 to Fulham here at the break, so let's get the latest odds from Betfair, the official betting partner of Talksport's Premier League coverage.
Odds update on Talksport with Betfair. Play in a different league this season with Safe Sum from Betfair. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
James Mackey is back with us. I bet those odds were changing constantly during that game. It was a brilliant 45 minutes. What are they looking like now, James?
Oh, you're absolutely correct, Faye. Honestly, they're up and down. But look, it was all changed that first half, but Fulham, they deservedly go in ahead at the break. They're now the 2-7 favourites to take all 3 points after 2 goals in a minute to put them in front. Brentford, they're now out to 12-1, having been as short as 5-6 when they went 1-0 up. But overall, like you've mentioned, Fulham deserve to be ahead at the break. However, Brentford took the chance really well. They're not out of this game. I think there's going to be plenty more goals in the second half, and they'll be pushing for that equaliser in the second half, and the draw can be backed at 7-2. Just looking at the player markets in the second half, and for the home team, Alex Iwobi, he was the man to get the Cottagers back level, wasn't he? He's 4-1 to grab a second in the game, and for Harry Wilson, great finish, wasn't it, for that second goal? He's 9-2 to grab a second in the game. Staying on the theme of goal scorers here for Brentford, Mikael Damsgaard got the opener. He's a bigger prize at 8-1 to grab a second in the game. And Kevin Schade, who I mentioned before the game, I think he's been quite threatening for Brentford, the away side, and he's 4-1 to get on the score sheet for the Bees any time in the final 45 minutes. And just remember, Faye, these have safe sub attached to the bets. As with all player-based bets, on safe sub-enabled markets, the bet will continue when the player is subbed with the player that replaces them.
Lovely stuff. Thank you very much, James. That odds update, all thanks to Betfair. For verification, see betfair.com. Over 18s only. Conditions apply. Go to gambleaware.org.
Odds update on Talksport with Betfair. Play in a different league this season with Safe Sum from Betfair. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
OK, second half coming up shortly on Talksport. But up next, we'll hear from Manchester United manager Ruben Amorim and Chelsea boss Enzo Maresca after an eventful game at Old Trafford ended 10-aside and 2-1 to Manchester United.
Game day exclusive on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it. Book now at enterprise.co.uk.
Not level, mate.
Oh, while you're here, we know you have a lot to get through every day. Searching for low prices shouldn't be one of them. That's why Screwfix check prices daily on over 1,000 essentials and basics. Screwfix, low price, checked.
Food snobs get up to £50 off IKEA kitchen and dining until the 28th of September. So can people who don't like coriander, and people who air fry everything. Anyone can get up to £50 off online or at your local IKEA, even competitive bakers. Simply sign up to IKEA Family. IKEA, the wonderful everyday. Available from 8th to 28th of September on kitchen and dining products. Minimum spend £50 for full TNCs. Visit ikea.co.uk/TNC.
Football is back and it's game on. Get the ultimate football coverage with the Sun's free pull-out goals. With the best writers pitchside for in-depth match reports, it's all about goals! And with unrivaled news from the Premier League to League Two, it has to be goals! Stay up to date on all the latest football action. Get your free copy of Goals every Saturday, Sunday and Monday, only in the Sun.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Watching the big game, cozied up in the snug.
Another 7-0 win!
Balmy summer nights with the kids playing on the lawn.
We're playing real-life football!
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of April 2024 and 30th of June 2024 was under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
Incredible scenes here at the Village Hotel's Pub and Grill. Fans are taking their place in the fan zone with stadium-style seating, amazing views on huge screens, and we're underway. Lovely bit of dribbling there as she tackles the burger stack. Now they're getting down the wings. Sticky barbecue. Unbelievable. Oh, and he's hit the bar. And it's there. His favourite ice-cold beer. What a result. Catch every game live in the Pub and Grill at Village. Get in. Find out more at villagehotels.com.
The Monopoly game at McDonald's is back. There's over £2 million worth of cash prizes to be won. And a chance to get your hands on some epic prizes. Go on, it's your go. 18 plus, UK, ends 21st of October. Selected menu items. App may be required. May depend on winning moment. See mcdrules.co.uk.
He's having a blinder. He's clipped the post. He's looking formidable. Then... substitution. His game might be over, but yours isn't. With Betfair's Safe Sub, your bet simply rolls onto the player coming on. Playing a different league with Betfair.
Valid on selected leagues and markets only. Applies to singles, multiples and bet builder bets on qualified player outcome selections. Does not apply to odds boost. T's and C's and exclusions apply. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
Game day exclusive on Talksport with Sky Sports. Stream a massive month of sport this September on Sky Sports with a Now month membership. 18 plus. Stream via internet. Terms apply.
It's the ride-died Wednesday night of live football. Port Vale face Arsenal in the League Cup live on Talksport. Real Betis battle it out with Nottingham Forest in the Europa League on Talksport 2. Full match commentary of both games begins at 8. It's a wild Wednesday night of live football on Talksport and Talksport 2.
Fulham 2, Brentford 1, our exclusive Premier League commentary for you here on Game Day on TalkSport. Faker Others keeping you company this Saturday evening. It is lovely to have you with us here at Craven Cottage. But first, before we get back into the second half of this game, let's turn our attention back to the 5:30 match in the Premier League. Manchester United picking up 3 points in a very entertaining and feisty encounter against Chelsea. Had goals and red cards, pouring rain, everything. Before we hear Chelsea boss Enzo Maresca's thoughts, let's hear from Manchester United boss Ruben Amorim with TalkSport's Mickey Gray discussing the second half game plan.
Ruben, you took Benjamin Sesko at half-time. Was that the reason because Casemiro got sent off? You needed another defensive midfield player on the pitch?
Yeah, it was more to control because we have Brian and Ahmad playing with Bruno. Bruno is more offensive than defensive, so we try to... With 2-0, we tried to do that. We knew it that would be a man-to-man, and with the speed of Brian, I had to choose one, and was man.
Yeah, and also, I mean, it's a huge result, isn't it, today as well? I mean, against Chelsea, who come at you in the second half a little bit. They got themselves back into the game, but no complaints with the red cards either.
No, I have nothing to say. I didn't see the moments on TV, and when you win, it doesn't matter.
I think in the second half they showed the respect, Manchester United, because they took Benjamin Sesko off themselves, so the respect was there, and you did actually get yourself back into the game in the second 45 minutes.
Yeah, but the game was 10-10, so it was a normal game. The problem is that we play for 45 minutes 11-10, that is difficult for anyone. Second half, as you said, we were much better, but probably it's too late.
You had Alejandro Garnacho on the bench. Yeah. Was there an opportunity to maybe play him today?
Yeah, absolutely. We sent him for warm-up because the idea was to give him minutes, but then West Fofana asked for the change, so we decided to go with the Malo, Gusto.
Interesting thoughts there from Enzo Maresca and Ruben Amorim on that game at Old Trafford earlier on. The players are back out here at Craven Cottage. Brentford and Fulham players, Brentford players interestingly sprinting up the pitch, ready to get themselves back into this game. Fulham players deep in thought about how they are going to maintain this lead. As it stands, they're 2-1 up at home. 2 quick goals, 92 seconds between them after coming from behind after Mikkel Damsgaard had put them in front. It's going to be a fascinating second half. As it stands, Fulham are level on points with Chelsea. They've moved up to 7th in the Premier League table. Let's see how the second half pans out. Sit back and enjoy commentary with Stuart Pearce and Joe Shannon.
Yes, and back-to-back London derbies for Brentford in consecutive weekends, having seen a first-half lead wiped out by Chelsea before coming back to draw that game 2-2. Brentford 2-1 down here ahead of the second half after a really rousing Fulham fight back. Contrast in the style and quality perhaps of the two goals, but they all count. Iwobi with a scrambled equaliser, and then really the best bit of flair that we've seen in the game, Harry Wilson rolling the ball into the corner left-footed to make it 2-1. Still quite mild here on the Riverside, Thames side. Fulham 2, Brentford 1. And as we look over to the far side of the field where the dugouts are, and no changes for either team at the break. So we're back underway on Talksport, and it's Fulham, the home team, with the advantage here. Craven Cottage, the actual cottage, just to the left-hand side, and that's where the teams emerge for each half. So they have to walk across the pitch to the brand new Riverside stand over on the far side of the field. As Fulham concede a free kick, Muniz on Collins. Collins, is he clutching his face here? A little slow to get to his feet, but eventually he does. So no changes. Fulham 2-1 to the good. Leno in goal. Tete, Anderson, Bassi and Sessegnon. Both teams unchanged. Lukic and Berger, the two deepest in the middle. King pushing on in front of them. Wilson and Iwobi, the two scorers, in support of Muniz up front. And for Brentford, the goalkeeper is Kelleher in possession now. Out to Collins, the centre half. Pinnock and Van den Berg are the other central defenders. Lewis Potter, the left wing back. Coyote, the right wing back. Yarmoliuk and Henderson, who scoops the ball long. The two in the middle. Damsgaard further forward. Schade and Igor Thiago up front. And Schade nearly gets the ball in the area. Coyote might reach it. Good sliding challenge by Sessegnon after the deflection. Now Igor Thiago looking to bully his way down the right. A lot of supporters only just coming back to their seats. The concourse is always very busy at Craven Cottage. It's a Brentford throw. For a moment there, Stuart Pearce. It looks as though Coyote might be in for an equaliser. He's now going to take a long throw.
Yeah, it wasn't a clean attack by any means, you know, a bit hit and miss, but the ball bounced well for Brentford, and Coyote just got beaten to it with a really good slide challenge.
Well, here he is with the long throw again from the far side, the right touchline. Brentford from right to left in the second half, all in this dark brown away kit. The flick at the near post and tipped over by Leno. Clever flick by Nathan Collins. It was looping after the throw by Coyote, and Leno backpedaling just punches that onto the roof of the net.
Yeah, the reason why these throw-ins are probably more difficult to defend than corners, there's no pace on them. By the time they arrive in a headed height, the pace is off the ball, and if you're a defender, you can't clear with distance.
Damsgaard's corner in front of the Brentford fans is cleared away on the volley first time by Kenny Tete. The ball has gone back out to the Brentford right. Fulham all in white, of course, as Coyote delivers again. Collins there on the stretch. He was beaten to it by Sander Berger to poke it clear for Fulham. Harry Wilson, whose goal separates the two teams, is giving it away momentarily. Damsgaard can't make anything of it in the middle of the Fulham half, and Fulham have it back again. Calvin Bassi out to the left back position where the marauding King can dart forward towards halfway. No foul by Schade, but the 18-year-old has recovered to hold on to possession anyway. Close to 27,000 here tonight in West London. A proper local derby, and the Fulham and Brentford fans, it is one of the highlights of the season, this game. Bassi on the halfway line with a square ball to Tete, but it's Fulham again who are going to have the upper hand over their near neighbours as it stands. Fulham go back to Anderson. The two sets of subs for Fulham: Lecomte, the goalkeeper, Raul Jimenez, Kearney, Traore, Cuenca, Chukwuemeze, Castagna, Kevin, who is excellent off the bench against Leeds, and Emile Smith-Rowe. And the Brentford subs: Valdemarston, the goalkeeper, Hickey, Henry, Jensen, Fabio Carvalho, who started his career at Fulham, Ouattara, Aya and Janelt. So there are certainly attacking options for both teams on the bench. Brentford need the goal, though, the most at the moment. Fulham 2, Brentford 1. In the centre circle is Berger striding forward. Carries the ball into opposition territory. 4 minutes have been played in the second half, and Fulham from left to right towards the very busy Hammersmith end of the stadium. Tete out to the A near side touchline, and Lukic and Fulham don't need to force the issue here. Anderson with one of his trademark high diagonal balls. It's a lovely pass to feed Ryan Sessegnon is forward to cross, and it's a looping header, an own goal by Pinnock. It's happened again. Fulham, who won the game against Leeds United with an own goal at the Hammersmith End last weekend, have benefited here from another defensive error. Ethan Pinnock under pressure, faced his own goal, and he's knocked it beyond a stranded Kelleher, who could do nothing about it. Perfect finish for Fulham, but a nightmare moment for Ethan Pinnock, and it's Fulham 3, Brentford 1.
Yeah, good build-up play by Fulham, patient, but it was that raking ball by Anderson that was the game changer, and when it went in, it was Collins who jumped with Muniz, I think it was, and both of them missed it, and Pinnock was just not expecting it. He tried to sort of cushion it almost, but he's cushioned it right in. He's hit him on the shoulder, I think, and it's gone right in the top corner. Kelleher, wrong-footed, could do nothing about it, but that's twice that ball's been in the box now, and Fulham Brentford have not dealt with it particularly well, and it's been very costly.
Well, just like Gabriel Goodmanson for Leeds last weekend, Pinnock, from a Fulham perspective, couldn't have placed it any better, and lightning has struck twice at Craven Cottage. Another own goal, and this time they're 3-1 up. It was an injury time winner against Leeds. Brentford responding on the attack. Mikkel Damsgaard edge of the penalty area with a deflection on the pass. Berger is there to intercept, and Fulham can now break. And Brentford have not really responded since Fulham equalised in the first half, and Fulham have got a really vice-like grip on this game now. 6.5 minutes into the second half on Talksport.
Yeah, they've grown in confidence with the goals, Fulham, as you would expect. They're a good passing side, no doubt about that. Well coached by Marco Silva, and to be honest with you, probably their best means of defence at this moment in time is just keeping possession of the ball in many ways.
Sessegnon down by the corner flag, a tangle with Coyote. Goal kick, says the referee. But there's a real jubilance about Fulham at Craven Cottage now, unbeaten here in the Premier League so far this season. They didn't end last season particularly well in terms of the home form, home and away really. They stuttered a bit towards the end, ended up finishing 11th in the Premier League. One place below Brentford as it was. Lewis Potter loses the ball on halfway, but he was fouled by a combination of Wilson and Lukic in the build-up, and that'll be a free kick to Brentford. So that Pinnock own goal has put Fulham 3-1 up. And more Saturday night football for you next week on Talksport. Tottenham against Wolves. Spurs, who drew 2-2 with Brighton today. Wolves beaten at home by Leeds, and they are still without a point. Yellow card for Lukic. Free kick to Brentford. About 15 yards from the edge of the penalty area, left of centre.
Yeah, Lukic is incensed, but his player's gone round him and he's just grabbed his shirt. I mean, to be fair, with a reaction like that after getting booked when you deserve to get booked, I'd be tempted as a referee to give him another one.
Damsgaard standing over this for Brentford, and Jordan Henderson has come across as well to the near side. Henderson will leave it for Damsgaard to float the ball in, high right-footed on the diagonal up towards the back post where Pinnock was climbing. It's hooked back in by Lewis Potter, overhit there, and then it's spun off the head of Sharda straight to the feet of Josh King, who's so silky on the ball, but he has given it away here to Sharda, and that's another free kick. I think it was King with the foul, right in front of the referee. Brentford take the free kick quickly this time. Damsgaard in between two white shirts, but it's a poor pass straight to Anderson, the Fulham captain. Fulham 3-1 up and on the break. Wilson's ball to the centre circle finds nobody except for the tall Van den Berg, who's there to win it back for Brentford. Sharda away down the near side the left, and Fulham have got a bit of breathing space. And you wonder, Stuart Pearce, how long Keith Andrews will leave it before he makes a change, maybe.
Yeah, as I say, they've just got a bit of possession back now, Brentford. They want possession and territory, really, to keep forcing this Fulham team to defend.
Henderson long into the penalty area, headed away by Anderson. It'll drop down to Yarmoliuk on his chest under pressure from Lukic into the path of Damsgaard. Wide left to Lewis Potter, led with the edge of the 18-yard box. Lewis Potter's cross hits Harry Wilson and goes out of play for another Brentford throw. And Lewis Potter will just place the ball down and leave it for Coyote, who comes across from right to left. And as Stuart was saying, this is almost as good as a corner for Brentford.
Yeah, probably slightly better, I would say. As I say, the pace of the ball, the trajectory is pretty low, pretty sharp, but by the time it arrives at heading height, there's no pace on the ball. You just can't clear your lines as a defender.
Coyote to the edge of the 6-yard box with a long throw. This one is well dealt with. Header away by Rodrigo Muniz amongst a crowd of bodies. Coyote's wriggled away from Wilson, but not beyond Tete, who clears. Josh King picks up possession. The 18-year-old nudges the ball forward, but Muniz not on the same wavelength, and he couldn't get there. King tussling inside, just inside the Fulham half. Good turn by Damsgaard, takes 2 out of the game. Forward to Igor Thiago, it's come back to Damsgaard via Bassey's touch. Damsgaard spinning and turning, little pirouette on the edge of the D. In the way is Lukic. And Fulham settled the game down, they've got it back again, but this is a better spell. Brentford having a lot of territory certainly in the game at the moment. And Keith Andrews, I think, will really be ruining the manner of at least a couple of the goals tonight, Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, they certainly will. As I say, so will Fulham, though. You know, in the 4 goals we've had scored, 3 of them have been, you know, both managers will look and coaching staff will look and say that was avoidable.
Liverpool, top of the Premier League, 2-1 winners over Everton at lunchtime in the Merseyside derby on Talksport. Brighton 2, Spurs 2, Burnley 1, Forest 1. West Ham 1, Crystal Palace 2, Wolves 1, Leeds 3, and Chelsea beaten at Manchester United by 2-1. Game Day Live will take you around the grounds in the Premier League and in the WSL tomorrow from 1:30 with Sam and the team. Sam Matterface, host from the Emirates Stadium where Arsenal play Manchester City, and we'll have WSL commentary of Manchester United against Arsenal. Long throw forward by Sessegnon for Fulham, and that's an easy header away by the backpedalling Van den Berg. Berger's touch nudges the ball out to play. Marco Silva pacing up and down in his technical area. And Stuart Pearce, you've been in the opposite dugout to Marco Silva when you were alongside David Moyes in the West Ham camp. He's a manager who's highly thought of, and he's always quite an energetic presence on the touchline, I think.
Yeah, he is. He was pretty energetic at half-time when he was berating the referee as they were coming on the pitch. You know, he certainly knows how to set his team up. They're confident in possession of the ball, that is for sure.
And he's gained a lot of deserved plaudits for the way that he's established Fulham as a Premier League club, and the club record Premier League points tally last season. The Coyote over the halfway line for Brentford, Italian under-21 international. Plays it back to Collins. Brentford from right to left. Collins stops the ball long. Schade gets in behind a slightly hesitant Bassey, who is not able to reach it. Schade hooks it back in, and then Igor Thiago. As Stuart was saying earlier, there was a looping scoop of a ball in, so no pace, and Igor Thiago couldn't get anything behind his header.
No, he had to generate all the pace, and I think his header come off of Anderson and just bounced into the happy hands of the goalkeeper. But once again, Schade and Thiago just working the space down the channels, and that's a tactic that Brentford are trying to keep employing when they can.
Brentford's next game is at home to Manchester United, live on Talksport next Saturday. Jumping is Collins, it's hit his back, and no foul by Muniz, who's into the penalty area now! And he lashes it beyond Kevin Gallagher to make it 4 for Fulham in the West London derby. Muniz took it early from the angle, too much power for the goalkeeper, no foul on Collins. Fulham 4, Brentford 1, and it's turning into a rout.
This will be interesting now. Collins went down claiming he was fouled. He's got blood coming out of his mouth. I don't know whether that'll influence the referee. There's definitely been contact, but you've got to say when the referee played on, and rightly so with VAR, that's what it's there for. He played on, and Muniz, he's hit the ball on the half volley with violence, and it was a clinical finish. But will it get ruled out is the big question.
It didn't come off Muniz's arm, I don't think, in the build-up. Did it, Stu, or did it bounce off the shoulder of Collins?
They're suggesting that Collins is suggesting that the right arm of Muniz has caught him in the face, and something has, because he's got blood coming from his mouth.
The VAR checking it, so what sort of contact are they looking for here then, Stuart? Is there an argument from a Fulham perspective that whatever he did, the motion of the arm might have been natural, or is it a foul?
Well, there was certainly contact. Something's made contact with Collins' mouth to draw the blood from it, as we've seen. And we're just looking at a replay now. Flailing arm, let's have a look. Has just caught Collins. Now, whether they think this was intentional, whether there was enough in it, and I think he's going over to the screen now.
He is the referee, a very recognisable figure of Michael Oliver, one of the senior referees in the Premier League. Over to have a check on the monitor on the far side, and we're watching it on our miniature screen here in the press box with ref cam. So he's looking into a sea of Fulham fans in the lower tier of the Riverside, and he's watching the incident on replay again. Is it a foul? Is there sufficient contact, or his arm is flailing there, Muniz, as he jumps, and he jumps high in front of Collins? What's the referee looking for? I think he's made his decision.
I think there's enough there for him to rule this goal out, personally. But it's tight.
Are we going to be able to hear from Michael Oliver? Sometimes you can over the PA system. This would be 4-1 to Fulham if it's given. Michael Oliver.
Fulham number 9 makes no contact with the ball, touches the front end of the face with his arm. The final decision is direct free kick to Brentford.
I'll tell you what I think's influenced this. He's ruled the goal out, but what's influenced this is the blood coming from Collins' mouth. There's no doubt in my mind about that. As a referee, you look at that and think, wow. And VAR as well. They've seen it. There was a flailing arm, and if it hadn't induced probably the blood from the mouth, I'm not sure he would have totally ruled that out.
Anderson and Collins were arguing furiously with the referee about that. Marco Silva laughing on the far side touchline, and now having a chat with the fourth official. That was a difficult one, I think, in fairness to Michael Oliver, but my reaction was the same as yours, Stuart. If there hadn't been a cut to the face of Collins, is that a foul? If he doesn't need treatment, is that a foul?
Well,
I don't know whether there's enough contact, is there, really?
Well, there was enough to draw blood from his mouth, so in that respect. But there are grey areas in football. Nothing's clear-cut, and I think that might have been on the edge.
So it's 3-1 to Fulham. The Muniz goal is ruled out after a VAR check. Not an easy decision for Michael Oliver. Lukic is fouled. Free kick to Fulham just in front of the near side touchline, and actually that disallowed goal has seemed to rile up the Fulham fans even more. So the free kick is taken quickly by Wilson. King is in on the angle inside the area, but he's overhit it, and the ball is screaming into the Hammersmith end.
Brilliant, really good to see there. It was Wilson got on the ball, and King set sail into the box, and he just as it's come across his body, he's had a swipe at it, but couldn't control the effort. As I say, it's a good game. Brentford, if they want to stay in the game, have definitely got to get a next goal in this encounter. But the game's full of beans at the moment, Joe.
It always is, isn't it? They always produce lots of action, these two. We're 18 minutes into the second half, so over an hour gone. And it's 3-1 to Fulham against Brentford on Talksport with Sky Sports. Don't forget that with Now you can stream the Premier League flexibly with a Now Sports day-or-month membership, 18 plus, stream via internet. Terms apply. A lot of incident for Stuart and Faye to go through after the final whistle. We're on air till 10:30 tonight, but half an hour might not be enough to dissect all of the incident that we've seen so far, as Brentford are getting ready to make a change, or we think that Rico Henry is going to come on shortly in place of Lewis Potter, so that'll be a straight swap at left back.
Yeah, Henry probably gallop forward that little bit more potentially.
left wing back I should say. Early ball from Henderson over halfway to Keane Lewis Potter, who we think is about to come off. Led with the edge of the 18-yard box. Lewis Potter scampers in field, and it was a delayed decision to look square for Schade. That allowed Fulham to get back, and it's cleared upfield high and long by Wilson, and great hold-up play by Iwobi. And then King with a quick pass out to the left, and Sessegnon. Marco Silva applauding his team and applauding the way that they played out of defence and the hold-up play, no doubt, of Iwobi.
Yeah, it's one of these games. I mean, it's high energy from both teams at the moment, but Fulham what they need to do at the moment is just keep possession and take the sting out of the game almost, you know. They're still looking to get forward and create things, which is commendable, but probably the game from their point of view needs just possession-based football.
Well, here's that Brentford change. Rico Henry, who was only able to make 5 Premier League appearances last year because of injury. He, by the time the season ends, will have been at Brentford for 10 years. On he comes in place of Keane Lewis Potter. And Brentford seeing fit to reshuffle, and they've also sent Dango Ouattara, the club record signing, onto the pitch as well. That in place of Igor Thiago. Fulham are in here. Mistake by Coyote. Looping cross by Sessegnon, over hit to the back post. Wilson near side the right collects. 3-1 to Fulham. Back it goes to Tete. So a double change for Brentford with Ouattara onto the pitch. And Fulham getting ready to make a change of their own maybe. Kevin, who starred off the bench against Leeds last weekend, is going to get a little longer this time, with 25 minutes to go, and Josh King gets a standing ovation. Listen to the cheers as he leaves the pitch. Great character from the young man, because yes, there was a mistake for the opening goal, but Stuart Pearce, I know you like the look of the player. He bounced back well, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. As I say, it's how you bounce back from adversity is often the mark of the player and the person. And as I say, he's played his part in getting Fulham in front in this game, that is for sure.
So we've now got a club record signing from either team onto the field. Kevin replaces King. And Fulham on the attack straight away. Muniz back to goal. Spins and turns into the area. Could drop to Wilson. Oh, the ball's hit the post. It was like pinball in there. And the flag goes up belatedly. Must admit, Stuart Pearce, I don't know who got the final touch on that.
No, as I say, Brentford have been very, very loose with some of their defending work. The ball's gone in the box. It was carnage. It was bouncing round. Kelleher, credit to him, has got a left foot to it that ricocheted it onto the post, but the linesman's flag's gone up.
Brentford staring in the face of 3 straight away defeats here as we head into the final quarter of the game. Rico Henry with a great delivery to the back post and tucked behind by Sessegnon on the cover, like every good fullback should do before Coyote could get their corner.
Yeah, got his position right there and just saw it out for a corner just in case. But I've got to say, an incredible ball by Pinnock there. A raking pass up the channel, bisected the midfield straight to Rico Henry, who put a great ball in.
It is Fulham 3, Brentford 1 on Talksport. Corner into the 6-yard box, headed away by Anderson. First touch for Kevin to sprint forward away down the left-hand side. We saw lots of those jinking runs against Leeds United, and he's fouled, held up on the retreat really there. Was Kevin by Collins, and the Brentford captain is booked, but it's his direct, pacey forward play, the Brazilian, the now former Shakhtar Donetsk man, which is really exciting the Fulham fans.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, Joe, that the song of Kevin is that catchy, if I'm being honest with you. Only the Fulham fans can sing that.
Not that catchy, not that imaginative either, to be honest. But maybe it'll evolve as time goes on. Just over 20 minutes to go. Slice clearance up into the air from Kelleher. Henry's header in field, and a bit slow to react, Yarmoliuk there. Iwobi won it back, and Muniz knocks it wide to Wilson, hugging the right-hand touchline. All left foot, nutmegs Henry, but nudged it too far ahead of himself. Pinnock was there to clear for Brentford, but Fulham have been, up to this point at least, would you say the better team, 3-1 and deservedly so?
Yeah, I think so. That would be fair to say. As I say, Brentford got the lift with the rogue sort of back pass, if you like, that created the first goal. But I think the quick fire 2 goals since then, there's been an ascendancy from Fulham, definitely.
Well, the live football is coming at an extraordinary rate at the moment, as Anderson's clearance hits the back of Rico Henry, and then Schade tries a cross. It was a defensive error from Fulham, and it's led to a Brentford corner. Last touch off Sander Berge. The League Cup returns next week, Tuesday night. Lincoln Chelsea on Talksport, Liverpool Southampton on 2, Port Vale against Arsenal on Wednesday on Talksport, and Europa League commentaries as well. Forest on Wednesday night and Aston Villa on Thursday. Both of those on Talksport 2. Delivery by Damsgaard into the box, and Leno has to tip the ball over the top. Relatively solid in the end. Big right hand, and it's another corner from the opposite side. Far side, right in front of the Brentford fans here. Very short distance from the edge of the pitch, these supporters.
You would say that Fulham at 3-1 are quite comfortable, but if Brentford get themselves a goal, this would be interesting.
Pinnock heads the ball down in the area, and it's hit Muniz. Headed that down and pasted Pinnock from a forceful delivery from Damsgaard, and that could have ricocheted anywhere off Rodrigo Muniz. In the end, it's behind at the put the end away to our left for another corner. 3-1 to Fulham.
Yeah, as I say, things will get nervous around here if Brentford do hit the back of the net anytime soon, and they're doing a crowd scene around Leno.
5 or 6 in front of the goalkeeper, who has to stay on his line. The corner's headed away though by Anderson. The ball bounces down midway inside the Fulham half, and Yarmolenko has to nudge it backwards to Jordan Henderson. Henderson looks from right to left, but Iwobi's there to intercept the pass in front of Damsgaard. Less than 20 minutes remain, and Fulham win a free kick. Foul on Lukic by Rico Henry. I think we might see some more Brentford changes shortly. I can see Christopher Ayer, the big defender, getting stripped and ready to go, and so too Vitaly Janelt. We mentioned the decision to disallow the Muniz goal that would have made it 4-1, and it was a tough decision for Michael Oliver, having been sent to the pitchside monitor. He made that announcement on the field, and I'll remind you what he said, if maybe you didn't catch it completely clearly, in just a moment. Fulham have the ball with Anderson. Anderson chips it high down the middle. Up goes Muniz. It's headed away by Collins. Good juggling by Wilson to nudge it wide to Sasa Lukic here. Back it goes to Berger. Fulham from left to right, all in white. And Lukic has slowed the pace of the game down. Tete back to halfway. And what Michael Oliver said on field, after review, Fulham number 9, that's Muniz, makes no contact with the ball and catches his opponent, that's Collins, in the face with his arm. The final decision, free kick to Brentford, no goal.
Yeah, that probably summed the situation up. It was a wonderful finish by Muniz as well. Near post, drove it past Gallagher, and that would have seen the game off. But why it stays like it is, if Brentford do get one back, could be an interesting finish on this game.
Absolutely, it's not over yet. Schade back to goal, has held it up nicely, and he tried to knock a high ball down the inside left. It thundered off the chest of Anderson. Dango Ouattara hasn't really had a touch since coming on wearing the number 19 that Brown and Burma used to wear at Brentford, of course.
This is what Fulham have got to do. Not bother looking going forward, just keep the ball and slow the game and take the momentum out of the game. That should be their tactic now.
Kenny Tete in the right full-back position has won. Fulham have thrown on the near side of the field, and a couple of changes to come for Brentford here. Christopher Ayer is going to replace Ethan Pinnock, and we mentioned Vitaly Janelt. Good to see him recently returning from injury, and off goes Jordan Henderson, who had a really influential part to play against Chelsea at the G-Tech last weekend, but neither he nor Brentford just generally have really had the same grip on the game tonight. Fulham 3, Brentford 1. Tete right back position on the near side. You're listening to Talksport. Long throw by Tete, headed away by Van den Berg. Lukic nods it square. Iwobi will whip it wide to Sessegnon. And now Kevin always looking to dart forward. Kevin's touch in the end is a bit heavy, but he's so quick and direct. He just wants to race away from Coyote, who certainly is no slouch. But in the end, Kevin's touch a little heavy, and it's behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, the fans like him. You can see how they get excited here, Joe, when he receives the ball.
Van den Berg and Brentford have it back again, but Brentford are going to leave it very late themselves. They certainly did that against Chelsea last weekend, and they'll have to score too late on if they're to even salvage a point here. It looked so promising at one stage, but Fulham have responded to going a goal down in the West London derby emphatically. The ball is out of play for a Brentford throw. Oh no, free kick's been given midway inside the Brentford half. Near side their left.
Yeah, Damsgaard just got caught there. Referee done really well, played advantage, but there was none.
Very lively atmosphere among the 27,000 or so here tonight. And the vast majority will head home happy. The ball is at the feet of Collins to Janelt. Blue boots on the halfway line. Back to Collins again here, and now it's with the feet of the number 4, Van den Berg. Not moving the ball forward with a great pace here, Brentford, and Fulham allowing them to have possession in the middle third of the field, and Brentford not looking a great threat at the moment. Here's the big defender, Ayer, angled to the right, and Coyote right in front of the Fulham dugout. Marco Silva issuing instructions. Keith Andrews sitting down just to Silva's left, in front of that sparkling Riverside stand. Here is Van den Berg on the halfway line again. Van den Berg chips the ball high out to the left. Harry Wilson is there to control it for Fulham on his chest, hooks it over his shoulder and away from danger. So Fulham 3, Brentford 1 with 13.5 minutes to go. Betfair, our official betting partner of Premier League coverage on Talksport, has the latest odds. I'll give you those in a moment as Brentford look to raid down the right, and Ouattara wins a throw. Quickly those odds: Fulham 1-50 to win, Brentford 150 to 1 to come back, the draw 20 to 1. That's all thanks to Betfair, playing a different league this season with Safe Sub from Betfair, 18 plus, and do visit gambleaware.org. Brentford long throw coming up with Coyote. They've looked dangerous on more than one occasion, but haven't scored from one yet tonight. Here it comes from Coyote, flat into the penalty area, and Ouattara at the second attempt has hooked the ball over via a deflection. Michael Oliver gives the corner.
Yeah, that wasn't far over the crossbar. The deflections probably just give it a bit more elevation, but you can't help thinking every time you see a result from Brentford that it was a solid deflection there.
Corner into the near post by Damsgaard is headed away, and Fulham not able to break. Coyote under pressure from Wilson, and he just about jinks away from him in the end there, Stu.
Yeah, he did. Got lucky, really. Doesn't look the cleanest with his feet. Good athlete.
Tete clears long for Fulham, very composed. Muniz tries to chest the ball square to the onrushing Lukic. Brentford have it back. Sharda, the number 7, runs into Tete, loses his footing but manages to stab it backwards to Yarmoliuk. Midway inside the Fulham half. That's a good crossfield ball, high diagonal left to right. Coyote's there to control right corner of the penalty area. Fulham with a 2-goal cushion in the game. Sessegnon gets in front of Coyote here, and the ball is out of play. Right by the corner flag, last touch off the Fulham man. It's another throw.
Yeah, another long throw coming in, and to be fair, I think every time you'll come away from a Brentford game, you'll wonder, they had a couple of players nearing the 20-goal mark, didn't they, last year?
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see what their top goal scorer scores this year.
Long from Coyote into the penalty area, towering header away by Joachim Andersen, and then Coyote slips but regains his footing before Kevin can get there. Henry whips it back in, and it's just over the top. It is another corner. No, offside. The last touch was off Sander Berger, I think, but the flag was up anyway. Here's another double Fulham change. Muniz leaves the field to be replaced by Raul Jimenez, and Smith Rowe off the bench in place of Alex Iwobi. You mentioned, Stu, those Brentford goal-scoring stats. So last season, Mbeumo netted 20 times in the Premier League, Visser 19 times. Schade was the third top scorer with 11 goals last season. The man after that was Christian Norgard with 5, and he's gone. So 3 of Brentford's top Premier League scorers last season left the club in the summer.
Well, and that tells its own story totally. You know, new manager coming in, he's trying to lift the group, but when you take that many goals out at the start of the season, I always look and say goals equate to points, you know what I mean? Those 20 goals are 20 points basically from Mbeumo and Visser alike, so, and that's probably going to be their Achilles heel.
Yellow card for Bernd Leno for delaying the restart, and good refereeing from Michael Oliver. 10 minutes to go, Fulham 3, Brentford 1, and the ball is knocked out of play by Ayer. Indeed, aside from Kevin Schade, the only current Brentford players to have scored 10 or more career goals in the Premier League are Jordan Henderson and Dango Ouattara.
Yeah, I'm not sure Jordan's going to score 10 Premier League goals this season, my friend.
It would be an unlikely scenario, you never know. As Bassi with a long pass all the way back to his goalkeeper, no foul on the Brentford man Schade, just shy of halfway, and Fulham have been the better team tonight. Anderson with another arcing ball right to left, lovely pass, Kevin couldn't quite pluck it out of the air.
It was a raking pass there by Anderson, but I don't think there was no need for it. You know, we're on 81 minutes. Keeping possession of the ball is what Fulham need to do at the moment. It takes the sting out of Brentford, and it's just give the ball back to Brentford, albeit in a defensive area.
Does love that high diagonal ball, does Joachim Anderson. Very accurate normally with it. Here come Brentford over halfway with Henry darting forward, having taken the ball in his stride, and good work by Wilson getting back to knock it out of play. Works tremendously hard, and really has got a wand of a left foot. You know all about that, of course.
I wish I did. I really do. But incredible, great work right there. Just what you want from Wilson. He's burst back, second favourite.
Thrown taken short by Cody. That fooled everybody, and then Damsgaard's delivery isn't good enough. Headed away by the first man, Raul Jimenez, with his first touch since coming on, with 8 minutes plus added time to go on Talksport. On a day where we've seen wins for Liverpool, for Manchester United against Chelsea, for Leeds at Wolves, for Palace at West Ham. Fulham leading here. Great one by Ratara into the penalty area though, and he drags the low shot wide of the near post.
Tell you what, he done everything absolutely correctly. Sold a great dummy, got into the box, cut inside on that left foot, and just pulled his shot. I don't think there was a lot of reaction time for Bernd Leno.
Wide it goes, and 1 or 2 in the crowd starting to head for the exits now, head away into the evening here in West London. As Leno pumps the ball long into Brentford territory, the Fulham goalkeeper. It's bounced on the halfway line, and Henry has somehow darted past 2 Fulham players. He sliced his own clearance and then ran onto it.
It did. Incredible play there by Emery, but he's given a bit of energy up this left-hand side since he's come on, I've got to say.
He has, and
been a good servant to this club.
Absolutely. And they've got Aaron Hickey, of course, who can play on the other side, finally back from injury, and hopefully will stay fit. But the game looks to be heading in Fulham's favour again in this fixture. Brentford have got yet another long throw. It's at the midway point of the Fulham half this, so Coyote's going to have to really get tremendous power behind it. Ayer and Collins in front of the goalkeeper Leno. It's long towards the near post, headed away by Anderson.
I'll tell you what, Anderson's been absolutely invaluable tonight to Fulham, because every time that ball's come in the box, it seems to be his head that gets on it.
Such a consistent performer, and key for Fulham tonight again. Back goes Smith Rowe to the feet of Anderson, and now Leno with a little touch out to the right back position. Kenny Tete is there on the near side of the field as Fulham keep the ball, and then Anderson, well, arms outstretched, he overhit the pass massively up the inside right towards Raul Jimenez, and Raul Jimenez was certainly not looking that way. He was statuesque in the central part of the pitch. The wires crossed there, but Fulham won't mind too much. They've scored 3 goals in a game for the first time this season in the Premier League. 3-1 is a comfortable lead at this stage. I think they're going to bring on a defender as well. Jorge Cuenca is stripped and ready to go. Part of what looks like being a double change for Fulham anyway. We'll confirm the subs in a moment. Henry over the top. Good ball by Damsgaard to find him. Henry dead ball line. It's going to be another corner.
Really great movement, great ball by Damsgaard to put Henry in again. Once again galloping down this left-hand side. Once he got to the byline, he just needed to feather it up to the far post, just loft it into the far post. We saw a similar type of cross from Jack Grealish earlier on today, for those who watched the Merseyside derby.
Yes, it was live on Talksport as Everton threatened the second half fight back, but Liverpool held on. 5 wins and 5 for them. Fulham heading for 2 straight wins off Go Wilson, and it's Lukic leading the field. Tom Kearney is going to get a big cheer, and Jorge Cuenca, the Spanish defender, is on as well. And Kearney is loved by the Fulham fans, and rightly so. The club captain, who signed a new contract in the summer, is waving goodbye on the final game of the season, but he's still a Fulham player, and that's great to see, the number 10. On he goes. So Brentford needs something, and quickly. Yet another corner from the near side. Damsgaard in, swinging into the near post with pace. Headed away and flicked further clear by Kevin. And Fulham have defended these corners and throws brilliantly in the second half. Coyote wins a free kick off Sessegnon. The ball is on the halfway line. Brentford go wide left, near side. Damsgaard in, swinging delivery, looping up high, and Leno doesn't even need to catch it. He can just let it take one bounce, go behind, and there is some boos here for the former Fulham man, Fabio Carvalho. Loud boos as he replaces Mikel Damsgaard. Fulham fans making clear what they think of their former player.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about, Joe. Obviously disappointed in the manner that he left the club in the first place, I take it.
Well, he left to join Liverpool some time ago now. Carvalho back at Craven Cottage in a Brentford shirt. And Fulham on the attack with Raul Jimenez, can't get through the middle. Haven't seen much of Smith Rowe since he came on, although really he's not had the opportunity to get into the game, in fairness. Fulham 3, Brentford 1, 2.5 minutes plus added time remaining now on Talksport. The sky's dark overhead but clear. A lot of rain in the build-up, but none at the moment. Henry on halfway, back to Vandenberg, and Brentford have really got to start to commit men forward now. We probably will have quite a lot of added time at the end of the game. Yarmoliak, heavy chip to the left-hand side, and Vandenberg nearly tripped over it, and out of play it goes. Fulham throw, and Brentford were really careless on the ball then.
Yeah, they didn't show much confidence in trying to play out from the back, and just got themselves in a tighter and tighter situation.
So Tete will take it. Fulham from left to right towards the Hammersmith end of the ground here. Tete 10 yards from the corner flag, and in a one-on-one with Henry, and he nearly played a threaded pass right along the touchline for Kearney to collect, but it was too tight an area, and Brentford will have a throw down by the corner flag. And some of the fans here in the historic Johnny Haynes stand, instantly recognisable with the brick facade as you walk up to the ground. It's a wonderful place to watch football. Some of them have seen enough, confident that victory is assured, and some of them are heading away now, with Fulham 3-1 up with just over a minute of normal time to go. Brentford throw near side, and you can certainly see what it means to the supporters. Stuart Pearce and both managers talked about that in the build-up. This is the game that Fulham and Brentford fans want to win.
Yeah, they certainly do. But as I said, we said before the game as well, they were only a point separated them in the league before this game, and the victor certainly can look back and say, you know what, in Fulham's case, we're up to 8th in the league, level with Chelsea, our local derby rivals, and be more than happy with that points tally, I think, Marco Silva.
Well, we're hearing there's going to be 7 added minutes, 20 seconds of normal time left, a right wing throw from Coyote, so good as a corner this, led with the edge of the 18-yard box, long into the near post, it hit Bassi, then hit Ayer, and spiralled behind for a goal kick to Fulham. So 7 added minutes to come, but have Brentford, have they really looked like getting back in it, Stu, since Fulham made it 3-1?
No, I think where they've fallen down, they put the ball in the box, in the danger zone, but there's not been somebody to sniff a goal out from nothing, you know, and that's been a problem, and I think it's going to be a problem for them going forward. Lack of a goal scorer within the ranks, and where are the goals coming from will be the question mark.
You are listening to Fulham 3, Brentford 1. Talksport with Enterprise, rent a car, here for it. Book now at enterprise.co.uk. Our next live commentary is tomorrow from the Women's Super League as Manchester United take on Arsenal on Talksport 2. That kicks off at 10-3 tomorrow. And in the Premier League, we'll have all the goals as they go in from 1:30 on Game Day Live here on Talksport. Championship action on the Monday Night Football on 2. Talksport 2, your home of the EFL, of course. Millwall against Watford. So do download our app to be across it all. The minutes of the 7 added played. And the Fulham fans are in such jubilant mood now. It's been a great atmosphere tonight at Craven Cottage. Fulham have a League Cup tie against Cambridge here on Tuesday, and then they have a couple of away games at Aston Villa and Bournemouth. Important for Fulham to get those home points on the board early. And it'll be 7 from 9 if it stays like this.
Yeah, really important for Fulham. Brentford next week, I think we're covering it. The early kick-off against Manchester United, which will be a fantastic game.
Absolutely. And intriguing after Manchester United's win earlier. Heavy touch by Schade on halfway. Berger there to win it back for Fulham. Brentford don't look like scoring the 2 they need. 3-1 down in stoppage time. There's 5 minutes to go, and Kevin he's delayed the restart there really, and Michael Oliver is going to produce the yellow card. He threw the loose ball over the top of Ayer, who was going to take the throw. Good refereeing. Quick throw for Brentford down the right. Schade, dead ball line, pulls it back across, won't reach Ratara. Good interception by Tete before it dropped to the feet of Carvalho, and then Janelt commits a foul. Nearly 2.5 minutes through the 7 added in a hard-working second-half display from Fulham.
Yeah, they've been clinical when they've had to be, and a little bit of luck every now and then has played into their hands, namely the goal from Pinnock that's cannoned off his shoulder and slotted into the top corner.
At the wrong end, sadly, for Brentford. Headed by Carvalho over halfway. Second week in a row where Fulham have benefited from a very strange own goal. Kelleher's got the ball. Goalkeeper rolls it out to Ayer. Brentford 3-1 down with less than 4 minutes of added time to go here at a packed Craven Cottage. And Brentford square ball Ayer to Van den Berg. Surely they've got to go long at this stage. Surely Ayer should be up there.
In all honesty, Joe, I've been thinking that for the last 10 minutes, you know, but they've tried to play out from the back and not look particularly convincing by it, Brentford.
2 goals down, 3.5 minutes to go. Fulham can't make anything of their counter-attack. Smith Rowe gives it away. Early ball Carvalho down the right. Kevin Schade one-on-one with Cuenca. The big Spaniard comes across and wins it back for Fulham. Well, why they have no real aerial presence through the middle at this stage must be frustrating for the Brentford fans.
Yeah, as I say, I think they've come in big numbers as well behind that goal to our left, and as you would expect. But certainly, I think this, as soon as the third goal hit the back of the net, I think the game was up.
Here is Vandenberg in the left-back position, a square ball infield to Jarmo Leek. 2.5 minutes of added time to go. Brentford have to score at least twice. Fulham lead by 3-1. Ouattara darting down the right by the corner flag. He pulls it back into the path of Coyote. Coyote, corner of the penalty area, back to Jarmo Leek, nudges it wide. Here's Ouattara in swinging left-footed delivery, poor. Cleared upfield easily by Cuenca. Fulham have dealt with everything that Brentford have thrown at them in this second half, and Fulham, as Stuart said, will go 8th in the Premier League, 7th rather, 7th in the Premier League, just behind Chelsea on goal difference. Great noise from the Fulham fans. Collins, edge of the centre circle, angled ball out wide to Coyote, 1 minute and 45 seconds left, and Aya has gone forward now for Brentford. Coyote feeds the ball to Schade on the edge of the penalty area, could get the shot away, but well tracked by Calvin Bassey yet again. Outstanding tonight, Bassey. Oh, and what an impudent flick, incredible piece of skill out on the left by Kevin, but Fulham have given it away, and now Ouattara raids down the right, excellently timed sliding challenge by Cuenca. The ball was like a magnet to the right boot of Kevin there. A very impressive, almost instantaneous flick over the foot of his opponent, and the Fulham fans absolutely love him already.
I think he needs his own football, to be fair, Joe, you know what I mean? So when the ball's nowhere near him, he can entertain the crowd.
Does he like running with it? 45 seconds to go now. It's all over here, surely. Fulham are going to take the bragging rights now as Smith Rowe is hauled to the ground. Foul by Ouattara, and a free kick. He's not going to get a booking. I think that's probably fair enough.
They've been genuine, Brentford, but they've just lacked a little bit of guile and class in and around the Fulham penalty box to get a finish away. And to be fair, they look as though they know that now in their body language, don't they?
Yep, and it has felt like that for 10-15 minutes, you'd have to say.
Yep.
The 7 minutes of added time have now been played, and tonight Fulham are the cream of the crop in West London. They have beaten their local rivals Brentford by 3-1, and after Chelsea lost earlier, Fulham go level on points with Enzo Maresca's team, only behind them on goal difference, and up to 7th in the Premier League. Fulham unbeaten here at Craven Cottage to start the new top flight season. More evidence of the great work that Marco Silva continues to do, but disappointment for Keith Andrews and Brentford, who actually took the lead through Mikkel Damsgaard after 20 minutes, but Fulham never really looked back after equalising through Alex Iwobi. Just moments later, Harry Wilson turned the game on its head, and in the second half, Ethan Pinnock's bizarre own goal, perfectly placed for Fulham, but at the wrong end for Brentford, gave the home team breathing space. Another own goal at the Hammersmith end in Fulham's favour. Rodrigo Muniz had a fourth ruled out after a VAR check. That was a tough one for the referee, Michael Oliver. But regardless of that, 3 more points for Fulham, and most importantly for the Fulham fans, they've got one over their near neighbours again. Fulham 3, Brentford 1.
Wonderful stuff. Joe Shannon, thank you very much. That from start to finish was a joy to watch. Another West London derby here at Craven Cottage that has gone the way of Fulham. They won both games last season against Brentford, and they've done it again. And actually, this is the first time since February that Fulham have won back-to-back Premier League games, which is quite an achievement, Stuart Pearce. Right from the off, they were absolutely fantastic, and the rightful winners in the end.
Yeah, that would be fair to say. They dominated the ball. They were good on the ball with their movements. Brentford, I feel a little bit sorry for Faye. I've got to say they've been stripped of their goal scorers and creators, and Keith's got to try and keep the belief within the group. But Fulham were the worthy winners today, no doubt about that.
They have the stronger bench as well, don't they?
Indeed, they were making changes that were improving, if not keeping a standard, you know. And Brentford, every time they reached to the bench, you thought, well, saying that, Rico Lewis, I thought, done quite well in getting forward when he did, but there wasn't anyone you could bring off and say they're going to get us a goal and have real faith in that.
What was your pick of the goals?
Probably the best goal was, let me think, I've got to say Harry Wilson, probably fading into the far corner. I think the passing to create it was very good, and I would probably pick that one.
It was a beaut, wasn't it? He was given plenty of time, but he really picked his spot. It was fantastic. Listen, ultimately, and Fulham have been on the end of controversial decisions that haven't gone their way so far this season. Ultimately, they got 3 points, but Marco Silva will be unhappy perhaps with a couple of the decisions that were made tonight. What were your view of them?
Well, obviously, the main one was the Muniz goal that was ruled out for a rogue elbow in the build-up. And in all honesty, I think the referee probably got it right. When a player's down on the floor and he's got blood coming out of his mouth, and you go over to the monitor and just back up what VAR have seen, there has been contact, and there's been enough contact to draw blood, so I would have probably come to the same conclusion.
What can this Fulham side do this season? We've seen them really, really impress and kick on under Marco Silva, haven't we? But can they really start challenging again for Europe?
I think they'll be somewhere near it. I think the step up to get into that European places with the finance that a lot of rivals around them have done, you know, Chelsea and the like, are all be probably slightly above them, that might keep them away from that. But the most important thing for them, steer clear of any problems at the bottom of the table, and I don't think they'll be anywhere near that. I really don't. I think they've had a good start, decent points haul from these early games, and they're very well organised, and they play a decent brand of football. You know, they're good enough to cause anyone a problem on their day.
Keith Andrews will be disappointed. Brentford face Manchester United next weekend, and you know, you mentioned right at the beginning you were quite happy to hold your hands up and say, actually, I was wrong about Brentford this season. They're going to be fine. How is their season going to go under Keith Andrews? Is January... Look, I mean, it's September. I hate having these kind of conversations now. It's difficult, but is January perhaps going to be key for them?
Well, let's be quite honest. The league is taking shape on who might struggle a little bit, and Brentford have been drawn down into that area, bottom 6, bottom 7 situation. So it's where the goals are coming from. Goals represent points, and when you look at the teams down the bottom of the league, I don't know how many goals they've actually scored. They've scored 6 so far. You score 6 goals, they got 4 points. At the end of the season, the goals that you score normally equate, give or take 5% to the amount of points you get. Where are their goals coming from?
Yeah, it's going to be really fascinating, isn't it, to find out. Right, you struggled to pick your goal. It was Harry Wilson. I wonder whether he is going to get our player of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
The Here for It hero on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, we're here for it.
OK, Stuart, who are you going for?
Well, I tell you what, I'm sort of going off-piste a little bit here, Faye. I'm going with Anderson, because every time that ball come in the box, which was the biggest threat that Brentford have, long throws, corners, it seemed to be Anderson that got his head on it, that relieved the pressure. If it wasn't for him heading it, I think the result might have been in the balance a touch more. I'm going for Anderson.
OK, Joachim Anderson gets the man of the match award from Enterprise Rent-A-Car. In fact, it is called Here for It Hero nowadays. So Anderson is the player of the match from tonight's game with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.